Hello and welcome to Insight. Today we have with us Dr. B.D. Chakma, a member of the Legislative Assembly of Mizoram. He was also in the news previously for resigning as a minister in protest against discrimination meted out against his minority tribe by the majority Mizos. Let's get an insider's view today on the past, present, and future of minorities in the state of Mizoram. Welcome to Insight, Dr. Chakma. Thank you. It is really a privilege for us to have you with us. Dr. Chakma, the Chakmas have a very interesting, very fascinating history. Some say that they came from the Magad kingdom. Some say they came from the Chittagong tribe. There are Chakmas who are in Arunachal Pradesh. There are Chakmas who are in Mizoram, like yourself. There are Chakmas in Tripura. Can you tell us in your own words what the history of the Chakmas is?
Yeah, actually, Ramiji, first of all, my special thanks to you for taking special interest to know about the Chakmas, not only India, all over the world. So, about the historical background, if you see, about our spelling of the Chakma. So, it is quite similar with the Shakya. So, I strongly believe that our descendants are from the Magad kingdom, and we are the descendant of Lord Buddha, because Lord Buddha itself belonged to the Sakya clan. So, in that way, we can claim that we are the descendant from Magad kingdom. So, after that, due to some historical facts and changes, especially during the reign of King Birurak, during that time, so many Sakyas were massacred. So, in fear of life, many of them ran away by Assam, Manipur, and they reached up to Burma, now we call Myanmar. So, in the Myanmar also, there are so many battles with Chakmas and Burmese kings. So, ultimately, the Chakmas got scattered, and even many of them are still remaining in Myanmar. Around 70 to 80,000 Chakmas are there in Myanmar. So, many of them, while going from this Magadha kingdom, so many of them might have been settled here, especially some of them are in Assam. You see, we have so many language similarity with Assamese. There are so many words which are just similar to Assam people. So, in that way, originally actually I can clearly claim that we are the descendant of Sakya clan, and we are from Magadha kingdom. That is our original ancestral homeland. Though they call that Chakmas are the ancestors originally from Chittagong. Actually, Chittagong that is the latest habitation of Chakmas. Earlier, if we go back to Buddhist era, I can clearly claim that we are the Sakyas clan who came from Magadha.
But how did you come to these states like Mizoram, Arunachal? Was it before or after the independence?
You see, in Mizoram, let me mention state-wise, because our issues are different. No? Especially Mizoram and Tripura, the Chakma issues are almost same about our settlement. During British period, many of the parts were included in India, like Chittagong hill tracts. You see, during British India, Chittagong was also a part of undivided India. But what happened in 1947, when India was divided on the basis of religious group, that Muslims will be settled in East Pakistan and those non-Muslim will remain here in India. You see, if we go back to the history of Chittagong hill tracts, 97% are non-Muslim. Most of them are Buddhists, Chakma, Mok, they are Buddhists, and few Mizos are there, Bom, Pang, they are from Mizo community, they are Christian, but very few. and only some of them are Hindus also. Still they are remaining in the Chittagong hill tracts. So, in free British era and after post-independence, you see what happened to the Chakmas, especially Chittagong. All the kings of Chittagong, chiefs, we call it chiefs, Chakma chief, Mok chiefs, and other chiefs, three chiefs were there in Chittagong hill tracts. So all the chiefs, they also claim to Nehruji that we, being the non-Muslim, want to be a part of India. Even our social leaders, political leaders, they love it. The New Delhi, they met so many times, the Nehruji, even Vallabhbhai Patelji also. And they also assured us that don't worry, you will be with India. But what happened in 1947, August 17, in the evening, suddenly in All India Radio it was announced that Chittagong hill tract is put under East Pakistan. So in the morning we got up as Indian, and in the evening on 17th of August 1947, we become Bangladeshi, East Pakistanis. That is the fate. And since then we started suffering. Everybody is calling us that Chakmas are Bangladeshi. Actually we are not the Bangladeshi. This British rule and Indian senior politicians, especially Nehruji's, due to their action only, our condition is like this now. Otherwise, during the independence, on 17th August, even they hoisted our leaders. They hoisted the national flag in Chittagong. But when it was announced in the All India Radio that Chittagong hill tract was included in East Pakistan, then Pakistani soldiers came and pulled down the Indian national flags. And from there they started beating and hitting these Chakma Buddhists. And that is how our condition is like this. Otherwise, originally we are the Indian. If you see during our historic period also, during as we are the descendant of Magadha, and after that during British period, the GST was also part of undivided India. Only during the partition of India in 1947, we were put there. But earlier also before that, because there are so many Chakma habitations. In the Mizoram part also, there were 2 circles. I cannot remember those number of circles. But during that time also, there are so many Chakmas are there in that Karnofuli area and Sajak Valley, including our autonomous district council. So, if anybody tells us that we are Bangladesh, I cannot accept it at all.
Dr. Chakma, as you consider yourself, your tribe, as natives of Mizoram, how are you treated by the majority tribe, the Mizos?
Actually, you see, in 1986, till 1986, Mizoram was the union territory. So, it is only after signing of the peace accord between union government and MNF underground that agreement was signed between Union Government of India and the underground MNF party headed by Mr. Laldenga. And from Union Home Ministry, Secretary was R.D. Pradhanji. And from Mizoram Chief Secretary was the Lal Khamaji. So 3 of them signed this Mizo Peace Accord. In that Mizo Peace Accord, it is clearly written, you see, in other matters. Let me dictate this point. The rights and privileges of the minorities in Mizoram, as envisaged in the Constitution, shall continue to be preserved, protected, and their social and economic development shall be ensured. So, Rajiv Gandhi wanted that this clause should be incorporated in the peace agreement. So, after they also signed 3 of them for getting the statehood. So, what happened after that? After getting the full statehood, actually statehood was given on 20th February 1987. So after that, this systematic discrimination started. Just if we compare before free statehood and post statehood. In free statehood, there were MCS officers, 2-3 MCS officers who were there from our community. We can say Surat Kumarji and Nilabaran Chakmaji, they were MCS, but they are now no more. You see, after getting the full statehood, what happened? There is not a single MCS officer till now from our community. So from these things, it is clear that discrimination is going on in a very systematic way. Just for example, recently, during the previous tenure of Laltan Holaji's ministry, you might be knowing that I was the Minister of State
Yes.
in his government.
Yes.
In 2017, when this national eligibility test was conducted, and 4 Chakma students got selected to study MBBS. So after getting the 4 students in that entrance exam, they started distorting the original higher and technical education rules for studying this MBBS and engineering. Then they started categorizing the peoples on the basis of race. Like Mizo people, they will be put under category 1. That is in 2016, I am talking about. In 2016, they amended the rules. Actually, original rule was prepared in 1999, I think, in 1999. So in that case, there was no discrimination. Any Mizo people who are permanently staying there as ST, they are the native citizen of Mizoram. During that time, it was okay. But after getting selection of those 4 students in 2016, they started this distorting the original selection rules. They categorize on the basis of race. A Mizo, they put in category 1, and this non-Mizo, especially Chakma, native citizen of Mizoram, ST, but Chakma, they are put in category 2. So, in protest of that, I just resigned.
Yes.
Because being the minister from the Chakma community, if Chakma students are not given the chance, even after getting or selection in the All India entrance exam, if they do not get the chance to study MBBS, so why should I continue as the minister? So I just resigned in 2017. So after that also, they were insisting that they will go on this category, like category 1 Mizo will get, that is 95%, 4% for Chakmas, very less, because if we see in the population basis also, we are supposed to get around 8.5%, like we comprise of 8.5% of total population of Mizoram. So if we allot the seat matrix on the basis of caste also, we are supposed to get minimum 8 seats out of 100.
Correct.
So in protest of that, I just resigned, and after that they were also not in the mood of changing their rules. So we just went to the Guwahati High Court, and we won. Honorable Guwahati High Court also gave the verdict in favor of us. With that point, clearly written in the court verdict that under Article 14 of Constitution of India, ST cannot be subcategorized. So in Mizoram also, let it be whether Chakma, Bru, Lai, Mara, all are ST. So among the STs, you cannot subcategorize. But in that rule, they have subcategorized. So that is why court turned it down, and court said that no, Chakmas has to be put in category 1 because they are the native citizen and they are the ST also, like Mizos. But now what happened again? In 2021, again in this year, in the month of May, without any information to any Chakma leaders, they never called us. We are two MLAs in Mizoram. One is from Congress, I am from BJP. So they never called us and they never informed us also. And secretly they again amended the rule, existing rule, 2016 rule. They have amended in 2021, this year only, in the month of May. And this amendment is more dangerous than previous one. They made 4 categories. In category 1, that is 4%. That is for open category. Open category means those who are STs in Mizoram, they can compete for that one, for 4% seat. And category 2, that is Zo ethnic people, that means Mizos. Only they are eligible for that. And for that, category 2, they have allotted 93% of total seat. And for open category, 4%, means total 97. And another 3% is 1% for Chakmas, 1% for non-ST but native citizen of Mizoram, like Bengalis and all, they are for 1%. And another 1% is for central government employees, those who are serving under Mizoram government. In that way, earlier we used to get 4%, but again in this new amended form, they brought it down to 1% only. In that 1%, again they have some provision, created some provision, that unless you study class 11 and 12 in Mizoram, government recognized school, class 11 and 12, you cannot compete for even that 1% also. So how Chakmas will get MBBS doctors? And I am the only MBBS doctor in 1994 from Mizoram quota. After that, after starting of this NEET exam, Chakma students started getting chance to study. But that also, to block that channel, they have started amending this amendment rules again and again. So this is the very serious condition. It must be abolished. You see, even after getting the Guwahati High Court verdict also, they are not complying with that Guwahati High Court rule. They even approached the Supreme Court also. Supreme Court directly turned down. No, your appeal is not acceptable. We will stick to Guwahati High Court judgment. You put the Chakmas in category 1, that's all. We don't want any other things. Because they are also ST in Mizoram. So among the STs, you cannot subcategorize on the basis of race or religion or caste. Because we are the native citizen of Mizoram. So we should also be given the chance to study like Mizos. That is why, even especially in case of education, our literacy rate is very low. As per 2011 census, it is only 48%. Whereas these Mizo people, they are the top 3, I think now the second most literate state. Yes. Now they are around 97% literacy rate. And ours is only 48%. Just see the disparity.
Correct.
So we must be given the chance to study. Without MBBS doctors, how can we improve our health? You just go and see.
The discrimination seems almost institutionalized.
Exactly, exactly.
And you know, I'd like you to elaborate a little bit more on why you think, you know, considering you have an autonomous district council,
yes,
which gives you judicial powers, which gives you, legislative powers.
Executive also.
Executive as well. Why do you think that is not sufficient at this point? What more can it give you to make you more empowered as a community?
You see, 6th schedule, you might be well aware more than me. In 1972, 29th April, the 3 ADCs were created, Laimara and Chakma. So, since the inception of these 3 ADCs, the fund that we received is coming from the consolidated fund of the state only. And Mizoram being the very small state and most junior among the recently created state. So Mizoram itself is having the very minimum amount of fund. So out of that state consolidated fund, 3 ADCs are getting. So whatever we are getting is very meager and not sufficient at all to run. Because you see, autonomous council, it is just like a state within the state. It is just like a mini state. We are having 3, as you mentioned earlier, that we have judiciary power, we have legislative power, we have executive power also. So to run those 3 pillars of the democracy, we need fund. But whatever fund we are getting is not at all sufficient. Even to run the department, we have around 22 department. So running this department is not so easy with that meager amount of fund. And that is why for last 20 to 25 years, our senior leaders, they have been running to Delhi and frequently coming back and going to Delhi. For last 25 years, we have been fighting democratically for upgradation of our ADCs. And among the 10 ADCs in Northeast India, we have 10 ADCs total, Autonomous District Council, and Mizoram has 3. So the leaders from these 3 ADCs are the first leaders who raised this voice that ADCs should be upgraded. They should be given more power. They should be given more fund. And that is why I think it is the final stage now by the grace of our dynamic leader Modi ji. He will, I think, definitely implement and he will materialize our dream. You see, we lost already 2 our veteran leaders. They passed away. One is Mr. Hipe. He was the former speaker of Mizoram also. So he passed away last year. And one is Mundrezi, around 3-4 years back, he passed away. And those 2 leaders, I want to mention their names. They were the real heroes for expediting this more funding process. We call it 6th schedule amendment. This very critical things. If it is passed and amended in the parliament, and I think our funding position can be revived. In that way, that is why we are just pressurizing the government of Mizoram and union government to incorporate the Article 280, that means Union Finance Commission. If it is amended, under Union Finance Commission, they can give a grant directly to ADCs. That is our main issue. So, and along with that, we need more department also, like high school. High school is it is a state subject. Our subject is only up to class 8, elementary education from nursery to class 8. That is entrusted to ADCs. So this time we are expecting that our power should be raised up to SSLC level. It should be given. So because next year we are going to celebrate the Golden Jubilee, 50 years of ADCs. So within the 50 years, if we still do not get the chance to teach our students up to class 10 level, so it is injustice. That is why we request the union government to incorporate those things and look into those matters. So I think if 6th schedule amendment is done, our position will be a bit better. If we see on the pro rata basis also, 3 ADCs, the population, it comes around 20% of total population of Mizoram. So on that basis, if you see, whatever fund government of Mizoram is getting, out of that fund, Mizoram government also should give up to 20% of total fund for 3 ADCs. But hardly we cross 5% of the total budget of Mizoram. That is why our financial position is also very, very in a serious condition, especially this Mizoram's 3 ADCs. But in Assam, Bodoland, Karbi Anglong, North Kachar, they are enjoying, because state is also quite liberal for them. But in Mizoram, you see, in legislative assembly itself, I don't remember the exact number of private members resolution. They have brought many such kind of resolution that ADCs, especially Chakma Autonomous District Council, should be abolished. It is a burden of Mizoram. That is their allegation. But in that Mizoram Peace Accord, they clearly wrote that minorities' interest will be safeguarded. Their interest will be safeguarded.
Correct.
But now they are bringing some private members' resolution that ADCs should be abolished. This is quite injustice.
Didn't the then Chief Minister Lal Denga also demand for the abolishment of the ADC?
Exactly, exactly. Not only Lal Denga, even the previous so many MLAs, they brought this bill, private members' resolution, that ADCs should be abolished and it should be amalgamated with Mizoram. But we strongly oppose that one. Especially they are targeting the Chakma Autonomous District Council. So it is not acceptable at all. It was prepared, constituted under the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India. How Mizoram can pass such resolution to dissolve the IDCs? It is unacceptable.
Correct. But do you think that this sort of discrimination that is very evident by what you've told me
Yes.
is racial or is it religious? Because of course the Chakmas follow largely Buddhism.
Yes.
The Mizos are majority Christian. Is this a reason for the clash or is it more racial?
Actually, religious, we cannot say it directly, because whenever this kind of issues come up, they usually say Chakma Mizo. They never say this Christian and Buddhism. I never heard. They usually say that Chakmas and Mizos. That means we can say in the line of racial discrimination.
So you would say that it's mostly?
Yeah, mostly.
Where do you think the Chakmas see themselves in the future within Mizoram? Do you think that all these demands that you've made will come to some fruition, or do you think that there's a lot more struggle ahead of you?
No, actually for survival we have to struggle in many ways, especially you see some basic amenities you see, especially road infrastructure, health, education. In every sense we are lagging behind.
Correct.
Just few minutes back I quoted the literacy rate also.
Correct.
They crossed above 90% and we are still fighting below 50%. So in that case education is also a very major subject that we have to look into. Another one is road communication also. If you do not go practically, you cannot imagine how we are suffering. You see during rainy season also you cannot move from one village to another. All roads are cut off.
Correct.
Even about health also, out of 3 hospitals, only one hospital is run by the state government, another second one is run by the Autonomous District Council, and even it cannot pay the staff salary also, because there is a very meager amount under Chakma Autonomous District Council budget. And another hospital, 3 years back construction was completed, but this time government of Mizoram is telling that they don't have any fund, they don't have any doctor to open that hospital. So that is why there are so many challenges that we have to address.
What are the aspirations of the Chakmas? Do you think that bridges can be built between the majority Mizos and the Chakmas in the future? Do you think that the youth in the state from both ends is ready for this?
Definitely, because there should be universal brotherhood, because we are since time immemorial, we have been staying together and residing together, like in the same place. So being the big brother, unless they understand our problem, unless they give us the chance to go with them, to raise up to their level in case of education, in case of health, in case of road communication. So these things, if they do not understand their responsibility, if they do not have pity on us, being the Chakma minority, being the citizen of Mizoram, we must take care of them. If they don't have that feeling for us, so bridging the gap between these two communities, if we try from our own side also, it will be just beating the drum from one side only. So it should be the endeavor for both communities. And that gap can be lessened if they be treated as in a proper way, like whatever it is written in the peace accord. So whatever under 6th schedule, whatever rights were given, if they do not comply with those things in letter and spirit, then the spirit will continue. That is why it is their duty, being the big brother and being the majority, it is their duty to have pity on us. They should give us the chance to go with them and to go all those developmental activities as per with their level. Otherwise, this very they will go by literacy. They will, after few years, they will be 100%. And if this kind of discrimination goes on, will come down to 30%.
But I'll take this one step further, though what you've said it very well. But a big brother never has pity. A big brother almost raises the bar and does more for the younger brother than he does for himself. So one can only hope that the majority community in Mizoram looks at it that way. But having said that, do you think that the Chakmas are singled out, or the other minority communities like the Lais and the Marans, are they also treated like this?
For Lai Mara, being the autonomous council members, for them they don't have that much problem, because they are of the same religious denomination, they are Christian. Even Bru people also, by name it will be very difficult to identify them, because all these Brus, sometimes we call Riang.
Rians.
They usually keep their name by Mijos only. So that is why identification for them is very difficult, superficially. So in that case, being the same religious denomination, that they are Christian, so their problem is not as much as we are facing. So that is why.
Absolutely. But we can only hope that, you know, these problems come to an end very soon, because as native communities of the same state, I think it would be only beneficial to say that everybody is treated equally.
Exactly, that is our demand.
Absolutely.
Because we are not demanding the illegal things. Whatever is given in the constitution and by rules, even you see why I am referring it again and again, peace agreement. In the agreement itself, they clearly wrote that minorities will be taken care of. But as of now, we do not find that kind of sign.
And the peace agreement, the Mizo peace agreement,
yes,
was the reason that a statehood was established, which, as you had mentioned earlier to me, which was pointed out by even the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, that the state would have that kind of responsibility towards its minorities as well.
Yes, that is why. If they do not stick to their own peace accord, so it is very difficult.
Absolutely. There are Chakmas in Arunachal Pradesh as well. What is their status? Is it the same as the status of the Chakmas in Mizoram?
Actually, in different states, we have different issues. The Arunachal Chakmas, not only Chakma, Hajong also. Yeah. When Kaptai Dam was built, You must be knowing about that history also. So the Chakma and Hajang, they came into India. So from there and to Arunachal. During that time it was called NEFA. So the Union Government of India itself told them to go there. And there was a permanent plan to settle them there. And on that basis, they were given so many rights and privileges during those days, though they didn't have voting rights during that time also. But they had some basic rights like ration card and district license, gun license. Those things they enjoyed initially. But what happened after that, the anti-foreigners agitation, they started slowly snatching away all those facilities. Now up to this level, they came down to almost zero without any rights and privileges. So recently what happened during the last Independence Day speech, you might be remembering that the Arunachal Chief Minister Pema Khanduji suddenly declared that Chakmas of Arunachal will be relocated somewhere. They cannot stay in Arunachal. So that also I think there are almost 57 years running in Arunachal. Many of them are born and brought up there in Arunachal. So basing on that, they should be given the citizenship, because without citizenship, enjoying the rights as a citizen is very difficult. So that is why relocation of Arunachal Chakmas in places other than Arunachal, it will be a very injustice. Because you see, in 2019 I visited Arunachal. They invited me in Biju Mela. That is our cultural festival. Biju, just like Assamese Bihu, we celebrate Biju in the month of April. So there I went and I saw they are very laborious. Without getting any government facility, they are doing very hard work. They raise so many plantations, especially this horticultural garden, Erica nut and all. They are working very hard. And many of them constructed many good houses also. They are sending their children to other parts of India because they don't have any facility. They are in Arunachal. So they are bound to go to Delhi somewhere, Chennai somewhere. So that is why I think they should be given the citizenship with ST rights, scheduled tribe rights. In addition to that, you might be knowing about the Supreme Court verdict also. There were two verdicts. One is in 1996, I think, if I am not wrong, and another one is 2015. So instead of getting two Supreme Court verdicts, that Chakmas of Arunachal, not only Chakma, Hajang, Chakmas and Hajang should be given the citizenship. Some of them are by birth, but those who came down to Arunachal during 2064 to 69, almost all of them passed away. Only few of them, around 2000 old people will be there, but all others are citizens by birth. Even those who are citizens by birth, they are also not getting the voting rights. That is the main issue. They should be given, because it is there is High Court ruling also. The Chakmas and Hajang should be given citizenship. So along with the citizenship, not only citizenship, even they should be given ST status also. That is my view, because only getting the citizenship and without any privilege, they cannot come up.
What is the economic status in Arunachal Pradesh? Because as they don't have citizenship, they are obviously not privy to any sort of government funding and support. So how do they survive?
That is why they are very laborious now, working hard. Because they have no hope to get anything from government, either from union or state. So they have to work hard for their livelihood.
Well,
so hard working is the only way to survive for time being.
Well, Mr. Chakma, thank you so much for joining us on Insight. and we hope the best for your community as well as the Chakmas in Arunachal Pradesh, and we hope to hear good news.
Thank you.
On both fronts. We hope to have you again soon with us.
Thank you, Ramiji.
Though the Chakmas are protected by the Constitution like any other citizen in the country, they are still discriminated against. One can only hope that the promises that were made to them are practiced in the same spirit that they were written in. Thank you for watching. Till the next episode.